welcome to Music My Way with Pastor Neville. At Music My Way, you learn how to play the piano by ear. Learning is designed to get especially beginners from knowing nothing to being able to play especially, but not only hymns, and to play them by ear, yet sound professional. Today we'll be having our second lesson, which is centered on scales. Just before we plunge into it, let us have a recap of what we had in the previous lesson. In our previous lesson, we were looking at the alphabet of music. We saw that it has 7 letters, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Then we looked at the positions of these letters on the piano. The last thing we did in the previous video was a 5-finger exercise. So please, if you do not know the names of all 12 keys on the piano, do watch my previous video, because this video will be building on what we said, on what was said and done in the previous video. Once again, I'll be trying to make the video as short as possible, yet as explicit as I can. If there is anything you don't hear clearly, please rewind and listen again. Let me say this here. Please like the video, share it, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Like my Facebook page at Music My Way 11. Follow me on Instagram at Pianongam. If you have a question, please leave a comment below and I'll gladly get back to you. In today's lesson, we'll be introducing scales. Scales is quite a lengthy concept and can be quite tricky to explain, so we will break it up in 2 parts. We'll have the first part today, and in lesson 3, we will expatiate on it a little more. So what are we going to be doing today? We are going to be looking at the definition and we will do a definition and explanation of what scales are. Then we'll look at the formulae for some scales. We will concentrate especially on the major scale, and we'll play the C major scale. Then we'll have an exercise. So, definition and explanation. The word scale comes from the Latin word escala, which can be used in reference to a ladder or a stairway. Notice here that we use a ladder or stairs either to go up or to go down. Thus, as used in music, scales refers to the different patterns used either in going up or down the alphabet of music. Now, let's explain and fine-tune that a little. The 7 letters of the alphabet of music are actually representing 7 levels of sound. There are altogether 12 levels of sound in conventional music. These levels of sound are as follows. There you see them on the screen: A, B flat, B, C, C sharp, D, E flat, E, F, F sharp, G, A flat. Okay, in lesson 1 we saw that the piano has 7 white keys and 5 black keys, making a total of 12 keys. And these keys are arranged in a particular way from left to right. The truth is, there are actually no white and black keys. The 7 whites and 5 blacks that you see are actually just an arrangement of the 12 levels of sound or pitches, repeated from left to right. You know, from this end of the keyboard, and it keeps repeating itself like that and going up the keyboard, okay? So, that said, some things to note about sound levels or pitches. When you ask someone to pitch a song or give a pitch, what you're doing is you're determining the sound level from which you will sing or play. The pitch is the sound level which acts like a compass, helping you to get your bearings and to navigate the song easily. So if I say sound level or pitch, I'm referring to the same thing. Some things to note about sound levels. The first thing is, A is not necessarily the first sound level. You can start counting the sound levels from any letter. However, when you reach G, you start over from A, like a wall clock. When you reach 12, you start over from 1. Secondly, regardless of where you start counting, a complete set of these levels of sound is called an octave. E.g., from one C to another, either above or below it, is an octave. So if we take this C right here, from this C to this C is an octave, and from this C to this C is also an octave. So if you consider from this C to this one, that will be 2 octaves. Now, if you look closely, rather, you will discover that this, from here to here, you have all the sound levels of the 12 sound levels are here in this octave, because you have C, C sharp, D, E flat, E, F, F sharp, G, A flat, A, B flat, B, and then back to C, and it starts over and the same thing repeats itself. The C sound level, which will often just be referred to as C is known as the natural, and this is probably because the majority of people can sing comfortably on it. Remember, we are talking about scales, and we have said scales refers to the patterns of movement up and down the alphabet of music. To make this even clearer, it is more accurate to say scales refers to the patterns of movement up and down the sound levels of music. I have used the word pattern a few times. It is really key to this definition. An appropriate question will be, what are these patterns? I want you to think of the different sound levels as rungs of a ladder or steps on a stairway. See the stairs as arranged in repeated groups of 12. Now, in everyday life, we use both stairs and ladders, especially stairs. When you move up or down the stairs, you choose which steps to step on and which to skip. If you were in a hurry, you would probably skip more steps, but if you're out for sports, using the stairs to work out or out on a stroll and the stairs are really wide, you will probably step on every one of them. Normally, you don't walk out of the house planning to skip some stairs or walk on all, and even if you do, hardly is there a fixed pattern for which steps to skip and which to step on. However, scales refers to some established regular patterns guiding you on which level of sound to play and which to leave out, depending of course on what kind of music you want to play. Now, there exist many different types of scales used to play different genres of music. Here are a few. For the purpose of this course, we will focus on the major scale. However, here are the formulae or patterns for some of these scales. Root is the starting sound level. Root represents the starting sound level, the reference sound level, the beginning pitch. It is the first note of the scale. It is also referred to in music as the tonic. H stands for half step, and it is the same as S, which is semitone. A half step or semitone is the distance between two notes. Every sound level is separated from the one before it or the one after it by a semitone or a half step. A half step means the very next note or sound level. Now let's look at that on the keyboard. This is a sound level. That's a C sharp. That's C sharp. Okay, if you look at C sharp and D, there is nothing separating C sharp from D. So they are separated by a semitone. The distance between them is a semitone. Okay, and the same thing from D to D sharp or E flat. There's nothing separating the two of them. So that is a semitone. And a semitone, if you have to go semitones, that will be a semitone from C to C sharp. That's why I'm doing a semitone movement right now. Those are just semitones, okay? Now, yeah, semitones or half steps, if you want to call them that. And W is a whole step, and it is the same as T, which is tone. A whole step comprises of two half steps. It is moving to the note that is a third away. A whole step or a tone means that you skip one sound level. Now let's look at that on the keyboard. Whole steps is when you move over something. When you move from C to D, there is C sharp separating them. That's a whole step. From D to E, that's a whole step because there is E in the middle. Now from B flat to C, that is a whole step because there is B in the middle, and likewise from B to C sharp is a whole step because there is C in the middle. From C sharp to D sharp or E flat, that's a whole step because there is something separating them. So when you move from one sound level to the very next, that's a half step. When you move from one sound level to the third away from it, that is like 1, 2, 3. Okay, so if you move from this sound level to this sound level, that is a whole step. Let us apply the formula, applying the formula of root, whole step, half step, whole step, half step. Now that's the formula for the major scale. And if we begin with, let us say C, if we begin with C, this is C right here, okay? Now the formula says root, so C is going to be our root, our tonic, or our starting note, our beginning point. That is C right there. So if you say a whole step, the formula says whole step, whole step. So the first whole step, we are moving from C, and we are moving a whole step. Now our reference direction is from left to right. From C, we are moving a whole step. And C, whole step means move over something. Okay, so we are moving over C sharp. So we move from C over C sharp to D. That's a whole step. So we have in the scale, we already have those two notes. Then the next thing the formula says another whole step. So we have the first whole step to D, the second whole step to E. Then the next thing says half step. So we move to the very next note, which is F. And then we have three whole steps and a half step. So the first whole step, 1, we move over F sharp. The next whole step, we move over A flat to A. And then the third whole step, we move from A over B flat to B. And then the half step, the last half step that we have, moves us to C. So that gives us from C, which is the root, we have whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. So playing that a little faster gives you something like this. Okay, now if we apply that formula again, and that gives you the major scale. If we apply that formula again, let's say on the key of E. This is E right here. This is E right here. So whole step. Okay, we begin with our root, of course. E is our root or the tonic. Then whole step from E. We are moving. Whole step means you move over something. So we are moving over F to F sharp. Then the second thing says whole step. So we have two whole steps. The first whole step is to F sharp. The second whole step, we are moving over this sound level. We are moving over G to A flat. So we have from root, we have the first whole step to E to F sharp, the second whole step to A flat, and then we have a semitone or a half step that comes down to A, okay? Half step, remember we're moving over nothing, that comes down to A, and then the next we have a whole step, okay? 3 whole steps, so we have 1, that's the first whole step, the second whole step, the third whole step, and then we have a half step or a semitone that ends us here, and that gives us okay. Now if you apply that formula correctly for every scale that you construct, you should hear, for every major scale you should hear this. For D, for E, for B, so for any major scale that you construct correctly, you should have that do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, so, fa, mi, re, do when you play it. Okay, haven't seen what that scale looks like, the scale of C. We've seen that it goes from C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. We've seen what the scale looks like. Now we have only 5 fingers, but if you noticed, we have 8 notes in the scale, in that major scale. So how are we going to play them? Remember in our previous video we numbered our fingers from thumb to pinky, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we're going to place the thumb on the very first degree, on the first degree note of the scale, which is the tonic, or which is our starting note, the root note. We will place our thumb on it, which is 1, of course. So let's number them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1 goes on the tonic, 2 comes down, okay, then 3 comes next. Now we do not continue to 4 like we were doing in our previous exercise, because that's the exercise we're doing, okay? But this time when we go from 1, 2, 3, what happens is we push the thumb under. We will play the next note with our thumb. So the thumb goes under to the next note and plays the 4th note of the scale, and then the rest of the fingers just come down to the end. And when we come back, or when we play the scale down, it follows the same from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then the middle finger, which is 3. 3 comes 3, 2, 1. So we have 1, 2, 3. 1 goes under and plays the fourth note. So we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. And it goes like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Okay? The same thing with the left hand, but the difference is we are beginning with the pinky, which means we are beginning with the 5. Okay, so still on C, we have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then we switch down to 3, 2, 1. So this time, unlike with the right hand where we have to push the thumb under, this time the third goes over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the third comes over, and we have the 3, 2, 1. Then going down, we have 1, 2, 3. It's now that we have the thumb going under. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Then back down. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So when you become comfortable in doing that with your left hand and comfortable in doing the same thing with your right hand, just like we recommended in the previous lesson, try merging the two and see if you can play the two together. That's going to be really challenging. And then when you become comfortable with any, just try to speed it up. I recommend that you practice with the metronome. If you listen to mine, it's not very uniform because I didn't used to practice with the metronome, and so it disturbs my playing somehow. So, but if you are working, if you work with the metronome, it helps very much. So, if you work on this exercise for the scale of C and you do that over and over again, it's going to get your hands relaxed and adjusted to that scale. In our subsequent videos, we are going to be learning more scales and the right fingerings. But for now, work on knowing the C scale and knowing the notes on the C scale and playing them with the right fingering. Spend time on the instrument and see how many scales you can construct and test them to see that you have this do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do sound. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, like my Facebook page. You can get to me on Facebook at Music My Way 11, or you can follow me on Instagram at Pianongam. So see you in my next video. Bye.